I think we are live. Okay, great. We're live. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me, everybody. And today we're doing our first episode of the Simps versus Salties series. And I am joined by a lot of wonderful friends to talk about the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. So let's have everyone introduce themselves, and then we can talk about what the book is, and then we will go into spoilers and fighting.
Should I start? So I'm Lena from the channel Sufficiently Advanced Lena, and basically I mostly read SFF, mostly adult. It's really weird for me to read a YA book, but yeah, my jam right now is just science fiction. So that's maybe just like a hint of where I'm at with this book. But yeah, that's basically all.
Okay, I am TB. I basically read whatever. I have no thoughts right now. But yeah, that's about it. I basically read.
You came to a fight, no thoughts, empty head? No.
Yes, I'm not gonna lie. I basically have like zero thoughts right now. I have like two or three events that I have like actual feelings for, but mostly I just don't remember anything. So that's great.
Oh my god.
And that's basically, what to expect over at my channel. There is like never any like actual structure. It's just pure chaos all the time. Here you go.
We love it.
So me next?
Yeah.
My name is Eva from, what is my channel name? I haven't filmed in so long. Books Have After, that's the one. I haven't filmed, as I said, for a while, so my channel's pretty dead at the moment. This is my return to the booktube scene, so hopefully you guys won't hate me too much after this. Mostly read sci-fi, fantasy, and right now I just play World of Warcraft most of the time. So,
quality.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Mick. You'll be able to see my little cat in the background. He'll be probably taking up my entire video. His name is Mochi. I read mostly adult fantasy and literary fiction, and then I also dive into YA every once in a while. My channel is Nicholas Wrights, and I'm excited to fight.
So I do believe I have everybody linked in the description down below, so please go follow all these wonderful people, and if I haven't convinced you yet, I'm sure that by fighting you will be able to see our loyalties and who we need to catch up on everyone's content. So let's say what the book is, and then let's out ourselves, I guess. So this is a very unusual murder mystery by Mr. Stuart Turton, and this follows this guy named Aidan Bishop, who finds himself in a different body every day, and it seems that he has 8 hosts, which he's able to inhabit over the course of 8 days, and during this time he is supposed to discover the murderer of this woman named Evelyn Hardcastle, and if he is able to name the murderer and bring it to this mysterious plague doctor who seems to be running everything. If he can do that, he's able to escape. But if he doesn't, then he has to basically replay this whole thing with no memory of anything that he's done so far. So he is aiming to escape. Meanwhile, there is another set of a couple other players that seem to be at work. So everyone is kind of competing against each other to see who can escape out of here, it seems. So does everyone want to talk about the star rating that they gave to this book, or maybe like if you've read it really recently, if it's your favorite book, anything like that?
Well, then I'll start. So I freaking love this book. Okay, let's just say it right away. I read it when it first came out, gave it 5 stars. I reread this kind of every year since it came out, basically, but it's been almost a year since the last time, so it's not that fresh on my memory, but I still adore this one. And the second time around, you get to discover like more things that were connected that you didn't realize the first time, so it's even better. So yeah, 5 stars for me. I'm such a simp. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we have 1 simp so far. Great. Also, hello, Nitty. TB, do you want to go next?
Sure. I gave the book 1 star because I hated it so much.
Oh, hi.
I remember listening to it via audiobook, and like I think it was around like the 50% mark, I realized that I'm going to hate this book so much. But I also finished it just because like, you know, it is a mystery. Maybe it will like end and I will like suddenly like love it because it's a twist. And nope, I still hated it all the way through.
Great. Awesome. Love it.
Yeah, it wasn't as harsh as TB. I gave it 2 stars. But big salt though. Big salt. This yeah. It was the same thing with him. I listened I listened to the audiobook and it just it took me a year to finish it because I was just bored most of the time. But it's a mystery, so you need to finish to know what you feel about it. And yeah, it would no, not for me.
Okay, all right. Mick?
Well, I just changed my name on here so you guys can all see it. I'm very much a simp for this book. I haven't read it in a while. I think I read it last year. I gave it about 4.5 stars, not completely 5. I loved it. I love that I was confused. I love that I was blown away. I thought it was actually a masterpiece. I feel like I need to go back and read it now that we're going to have this discussion because I feel like I'll be able to pick up on more things. I love that it was a mystery, so I'm ready to defend it.
Okay. I will also say I read the book, but I am trying not to like take sides here because I would just like to enjoy the discussion that's like relatively even. But I did keep it 4 stars. But that was actually what prompted this whole thing. I said 4 stars, and TV said no. So here we are today. So we have 2 Simps, we have 2 Salties, and then I'll be objective. But so we're gonna go into spoilers now. So if you haven't read the book and you don't want to get spoiled, probably hop off. But if you are willing to stick around, soak in the salt, as I've seen Katie books said, soak up the hate, then stick around. Okay, so what did we love and what did we hate about the book? I'm very interested in like what you hated, T. Because you said like
start with the hate.
Like, I hated. Like, oh, like what was it that you were like, no.
For me, I think that part of it had to do with the fact that I think it's like the fourth person. The fourth person is fat. It's just like I thought he was like the fact that he was fat was mentioned every other paragraph. And when you're like listening to it, you like hear these words that are basically like someone talking about fatness as if it's like a bad thing, and it comes up over and over and over. That's when I first felt like not as attached to it. And then
fair. Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah. And then I think when we get to the plot reveal about why Aiden is here to like track down his friend or whatever, that apparently is not his friend because she's like a fucking terrorist. And then it's kind of just like swept over again. And I was like, she's like a terrorist. Should we really be like liking her this much?
Yeah, I mean, we're going heavy with these plot twists here, but like, I mean, I think like the first plot twist was probably that like you're in a simulation basically, and this is essentially like this new form of torture, perhaps for all these different inmates. And Anna, who he thought was his friend, was actually somebody who like murdered his sister, I think. And then she was stuck in this prison, and he was like, "I'm gonna go in there on purpose to torture her to death." And then he was in there so long that he forgot. And then he was like, "You're my friend." So that's a plot twist. But then there was the second plot twist, I guess. I don't know if that's like all one plot twist, but like the one at the very end where it was like, that wasn't even Evelyn Hardcastle. Where it was like, okay. Ooh. I mean, okay, TV, I see you making faces. But what did everybody think of those plot twists? Were you like, this was not good?
Okay, with like the first major plot twist, I just didn't hit the way I thought I was going to. Like I listened to it and I was like, that's okay, I guess. Like it wasn't anything special, even though like it is weird. I will give it that, but I just didn't feel that like oomph I was supposed to be feeling. Okay. And then when it comes to like Evelyn Hart, like that reveal about Evelyn not being Evelyn, I will say that one was actually shocking. I was like, oh shit, didn't see that coming at all. Especially I think the scene where like we find out is like when they're in the boathouse, and I think like they just found out like her mom's body. That was actually a very good setting, and like whole when it comes to like writing, when it comes to the atmosphere, That was very nice. I will give points for that. But still, like, I think just how all that was like ended, I was just like not the biggest fan, you know. So yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I do think it was a quite open-ended in a way. I do believe that he could just write another book set in the kind of sane world, because he's just like, yeah, everything is going to be fine. We're living. It's just like, why would you have a world where you torture people in a simulation constantly? And it's just like, that makes me just kind of like the book more. And I also really like thrillers with sci-fi twists. I'm just like so bored of usual thrillers that every time there's some sci-fi there, I'm just like, oh my god, this is incredible. I could not see this coming. So yeah, the ability of not being able to just guess everything, because if someone guessed all the twists in this book, you're incredible. Because holy shit, what a mind. But yeah, I think that that's kind of my favorite part about the book. I do agree with the thing about the fourth guy. I do think it was so stupidly repetitive. It doesn't need it to be like that at all. But yeah, I do agree with that.
Yeah, just I was watching, was it Black Mirror the other day, and they have an episode with a similar setup as this one, where they have an inmate and they're basically torturing her every day.
White Bear.
By, yeah, that one. And I really like that
My
episode.
favorite episode of Black Mirror.
The thing that I really dislike is that you're torturing someone who doesn't remember what she did. You're not actually punishing the person that did the thing. You're wiping her memory the entire. She has no idea what she did. So you're essentially just punishing an innocent person that doesn't know what she did wrong. And that's kind of a little bit what I felt here, because at least I think Anna doesn't remember everything she did or who she is. So at this point, isn't it kind of pointless to continue the torture, because she's already gone? The person that you're trying to punish, she's not there anymore. So it's like, I don't know, it kind of took me out of the whole thing a little bit. It annoyed me, I have to admit. I liked the episode, didn't like it in the book.
I think I understand what you're saying, because if Anna remembered everything that she did, and this was just her getting her comeuppance the entire time, it would feel somewhat justified. But at the point at which Anna has completely forgotten what she's done, in the same way that the I forgot her name, but the woman in White Bear also has no idea what's going on the whole time. It just almost seems like that's just what people want to do, to be vindictive after the fact, just to continue to torture this person who no longer can feel remorse because they don't even know that they did anything wrong. So I really like that interesting factor. I kind of wish that like the book had done a little bit more of that and talked about if it was moral, if it was just to do what it's doing. Also, hello, Mick. But Mick, do you have thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree that maybe the moral compass in this book wasn't 100% accurate. I don't know if I got the impression completely that is Anna, I'm so bad with character names. Is she the one who like we think is a friend, but she's not a friend?
Yeah.
I don't know if I completely thought that she didn't remember what she was doing. To me, she felt vindictive the entire time. That she was trying to trick our main character into thinking that like she was his friend. Like, I think that was a big point of the book that I did like, because our main character was like, okay, she's our friend, we have to trust her. And then one thing as a reader that you find out when the main character does is like, oh, she is like not our friend, we're going against her. And I think that she knew that to some degree. It felt very kind of planned out on her part. I think the reason why I like this book so much is last year I was reading so many thrillers, so many, and I picked this one up because it was like in the same vein, and I think I loved it more just because it was right after like a series of domestic thrillers. So when you go from like a predictable plot to a predictable plot to a predictable plot to this, I was like, whoa, okay, this is actually like a mystery that I have no idea what's about to happen. I have no idea what the plot twists were going to be. So I think that is one main reason why I liked it, because I truly have never read anything that was kind of like that. So while the twist might be a little unbelievable, I was super involved because it wasn't just like, okay, one person killed this one person and then we're done.
That's true, yeah. I feel like I have read a lot of Agatha Christie stuff recently, And I have talked about Agatha Christie a little bit on my channel, but I just feel like a lot of times when I pick up her books, I usually end up giving them like 3 stars or less because they're just not as exciting for me right now. I really like domestic thrillers and stuff like that, but I just think that like it's not formulaic per se, but I just feel like there isn't like a big twist to it. Like there isn't a thing that really grabs me about them. But with 7.5 Deaths, the initial premise of someone hopping bodies and having like only a certain amount of time to solve this case, that very much appeals to me. And I really struggle to find a book that's very similar in the same kind of like premise that would really like pull it off. So I think just by effect of that, it's hard for me not to see that as like a very singular, unique thing. Did anybody have like a certain person that Aiden's, was inhabiting that they were like, I love this character or like I hate this character? Did it affect the way that you thought about the story? Other than like, we talked a little bit about how like it seems like the fourth person, the way he was described is kind of fatphobic, which is not awesome. But I thought like I think there was like Ravencourt, I think his name was. He was like the really smart one.
Mm-hmm.
He was interesting. I think I have a list of. I just looked it up.
It's the one that we were talking about. It's supposedly like the fat one. It's actually the smartest of them all, and he uses him just to solve everything in reality. Even though he's just like sleeping on a corner in one scene, but he's actually just there because of a reason. I just love to see how everything went together at the end.
Oh, we have a new Salty. Yeah, I mean, I think it is interesting in some sense because it almost seemed like I wasn't sure, and maybe this is like on purpose or not, but I wasn't exactly sure how Aiden's relationship with each of the people he was inhabiting worked, because sometimes it seemed like he was just a bystander and the person would do whatever it is they were doing, and he could sometimes get them to say like, I want you to do this, or I'm going to walk over here. But other times it kind of seemed like that person's personality just, completely took over and he couldn't change it because that's just the kind of person that person was. So it was a bit confusing for me to see like, is that under his control? Is it not? Is he even really a player in this game? I don't know. Interesting thing.
Yeah, I was quite. Oh, sorry. Go, Eva.
In the book that like the further on and like the people he gets, the like less control he has because like they're like more unstable. I think it was called. I don't remember what it was specifically called. I think it says that like later on it's harder and harder to like control what they're doing because they have like such strong personalities. Like I think the last guy is the artist that's like basically crazy, so he has like no control over him at all really, outside of like doing his little like notebook stuff. But like besides that, he just has no control anymore by that point. And I think he also says that like just trying to keep all this information in his head like hurts to like think about anymore because it's been like 7 people, seven lives, all this information. So I think that it just becomes harder as the book goes on to like keeps on in his head, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. I think also it wasn't totally clear to me from the beginning that he was actually going to live 8 days like doing this. I thought it was just like every day he's going to wake up as a different host and then it's like it's over and then he's done. But then it kind of seemed like, did he live way long? Like I'm still kind of confused because I read this, like I just finished it a couple weeks ago. So I still am kind of confused on like, did he live like 64 days? Like what? Like what happened?
Well, technically, it's the same day like over and over again during like 8 days. But the thing is that technically it's not 8 days. It's just the same one, but he's just waking up in different bodies every day, and that's why it feels like different days basically. But it's so confusing by the end when he's just jumping into the artist and then the aggressive one, which I don't remember the name, and Ravencourt, and the other one is just like little pieces of everything. Oh, I was confused in that part so bad. I also don't think that the audiobook would be good for this book. It's just hella confusing. So many characters, so many lines.
Yeah. I was going to say, I kind of felt like, because I listen to audio mostly, and I read a little bit of it physically, but I could not tell everybody apart all the time. Like, I knew that, I think his name's like Donald Davis was like an asshole, who was like this privileged asshole who was always just like, how dare you come into my bedroom and disturb me? And like, I knew who Ravencourt was. I think I looked it up, but I was like, who is this man who was like the artist? guy.
Mhm.
I knew the doctor because it was his first guy, Sebastian Bell, and then I kind of forgot everybody else.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I did start this on audio from the library, and then I got out as the physical book because I couldn't listen to it in an audiobook. So I could see listening to the audiobook would probably have made me hate it. I probably would have been like you, Eva, where it would have taken me a year, or I would have just stopped. Because like there is so much going on, and it was hard to tell. Like the day jumping was really confusing, but reading it physically helped a ton. And I always liked the repeating day portion where you could start to see Aiden was starting to get into the game. It took him like 4 days, which I actually kind of liked because I thought it was more realistic. Like if that was me being thrown into this, I would be so confused. It would take me a couple days to like piece everything together to be like, oh, okay, I have something to do and I have like a clock running out. But by like the 4th day, he was trying to guess like who he would become next if he hadn't already like come up to himself. So I kind of liked trying to guess which character he was going to jump into.
And knowing each character had their own strengths too. Yeah.
Right, which was cool because then he could like utilize those to his advantage. But yeah, I don't think I would have loved it as an audiobook. I had to stop, had to pick up the physical book.
Interesting. Yeah, I think it's a very different experience reading it physically or not. I think it probably would have been easier to keep track of like which day is which, whose character are we in the head of right now. Because a lot of the times, I don't know, I wouldn't say the characters acted like the same or anything like that, but I do remember that some of them, I guess, like spoke in similar enough ways that I didn't immediately know who we were talking about if I didn't like back up a little bit or something like that. Did we talk about the plot twist of, I mean, like we mentioned it, but like everybody's feelings on the plot twist of like who Evelyn Hardcastle really was? Because that like I think it's shocking, good. But also like I don't know, like what was everyone's feelings with the book? Did you feel betrayed? Did you feel like, oh, okay, that was a good moment? Like, what do you think?
Oh, for me, it was great. It was also kind of confusing because, English is not my first language, but this was one of the first books that I decided to pick in English for some reason.
Oh, really? So, that's really difficult.
Yeah, that it wasn't a really smart play on my part, I know, but I was reading it, was just like, wait, it's not. What do you mean it's not Evelyn? And I was just like going back in the paragraph and like, no, this doesn't make sense. No, but yeah, it was just such a mind fuck. I was just like, incredible. No, yeah, that sums it up.
Okay, great. All right, can we hear some salt? Anyone have any salt?
I think I already talked about it. Like I think it was one of the like better like scenes in the book because just like how like we know we're at the end, so we know like something big is gonna come up like eventually, and then this happened. And just like so, it is good. Like it is actually like a good scene. And I do think that the twist does what it needs to do. Like it does hit very good. Like there's no way to like see that coming really. I mean, I guess there's like one way you could like predict it because we do find out before that like one of the like older ladies is like killed. Like she dies naturally. Obviously we know that that's probably not the case. So we know like, okay, why would you kill her when she's just like this nice old lady? So like that's kind of like a hint that maybe she knows something that like none of us could know because she recognized that Evelyn was not Evelyn. So that was like a good like build up to the twist, even though like you probably wouldn't see that coming your first time around.
Okay, right, good point.
Yeah, it was just kind of much for me, honestly. At the point in the book, I had already kind of given up, I must admit. And that twist, it just, I don't know, it didn't do anything for me. I was like, why? Yeah, that's really all I can say about the twist. It's just, why? I don't know. I don't understand.
Did you feel like it was a twist for the sake of there being a twist? Like there had to be something, and he just like picked something?
Yeah, sort of. But then again, I had given up on the book, so I wasn't really giving it like a big chance to redeem itself. So maybe that's just why. I was salty at the time, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think for the twist, that was actually, I was like okay about the twist. I thought it was awesome because I didn't expect it to come, but I do agree that it did feel kind of like a one last push. Like he had to put something in there. Oh no, did I freeze? Okay, no, I didn't. I froze. But I really liked like the twist that got me, and what I wish was fleshed out actually more was the whole like simulation purgatory prison thing instead of like Evelyn not being Evelyn. So I think if that was even taken away, I would have loved it even more if they just like fleshed out the reason for like this simulation towards the end. So that plot twist was like meh, like super cool, but it's not as important to me as like finding out who Anna was and the simulation and all of that. To me, he should have just ran with it towards the end.
I think I kind of agree with that. Yeah, I mean, I definitely was very shocked. Like when I read that part physically, and I like had to go back and just keep like reading stuff over and over again to be like, is this actually what happened? But I was willing to go along with it, but I was kind of, I don't know, like a little bit disappointed by the ending. Oh, now you're gonna make me change my rating. But I don't know. I was kind of like confused because at the ending where he was just like, "We'll just see what happens," and like it was over, and I was like, "Wait, like, did you escape? Do we get to see the prison? No, okay. Did you even make it to the gate? Because apparently there was like a run through of these where Aiden like kills Anna in one of these things, like when they're at the gate, and he just guts her and then leaves. I think I don't know. And I don't feel like we got closure on that or like several of these other things, and like it was a bit confusing. I kind of feel like I almost wish there was just like a timeline eventually that was like this, then this, then this, and this, and this, because it was a bit hard to like keep track of everything. We also have a comment from Josh. Let's see. It's been like a year, so my memory's vague, but I thought the characters were one-dimensional and our main character lacked personality. His ending wasn't earned. Interesting. Okay. I have a question for you guys. Do you think that you would do the same thing Aiden did, or do you think that like he fucked up? There's something that you would have done differently? Like, what do you guys think?
This one's hard because I agree with something Eva was saying before about Anna not being like the same person who was actually convicted. So technically you could take her with you, but at the same time it's just like, yeah, she's a murderer. So I don't know. I don't really think that I would do the same thing, but at the same time it's just like, poor girl has been here like there who knows how much time. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely been years, but how many years? It's just like maybe she's been like 20, 30, 40 years in there, and it's just like insane. So I don't know. I don't know. It's not something that I would have thought about. It's just like, yeah, stay there. I'll go. It's a little bit cruel, but I don't know.
What about the rest of y'all?
I think that taking her home was like not the best of ideas because she did like kill his sister. So like imagine, you know, going home to like your parents and be like, hey, look who I brought. Like, how would you even like explain that to people like when you like leave? Like everyone, I know she has killed people. She's a terrorist, but I love her now. Why? Who knows? But I love her, and that's all there is.
Okay, especially because we've been thinking of it as like, what if it's been like 20 years, 30 years? So like maybe you go home and like there's nobody there who even like knows who she is. But what if it's the other way around? What if like when you go in the simulation, time slows down and it's only been like a week, and then you come out and you're like, Anna, and everyone's like, oh, no, she was just convicted. Why is she here? That could be a problem. It could be an issue. I'm just saying.
And then I think that I don't remember specifically, but I think that they kind of just like walk away towards the ending, and it's like, is Aiden going to wake up in like his own body again, or is he going to be like in his body forever? Like, is like a process like waking up, or is it going to be like one day you're going to like just wake up and not be in these bodies anymore? Like, how does this work? And then just I think again she's like a terrorist and she killed your sister. Like, I don't know how you can ever like, even if you don't like remember that specifically, like just knowing that, hey, this person killed your sister or whatever. Like, how could you like that is fine with me. That's great. Like, don't
love her.
Rationalize this in your mind. Like even just hearing it, like I just don't get it. You know.
He seemed very forgiving by the end.
Like super fast too.
I think of that was because he doesn't fully remember who he is, like all of it. So he's just like, oh yeah, I've been stuck here for a while. I barely remember anything. Oh yeah, this guy killed my sister, but who the hell is my sister? So
Yeah.
it doesn't care. He just doesn't care. It's like, oh yeah, she's suffered enough. Well, we'll just leave.
It'll be
Yeah,
fine.
that's the thing. He just like forgave her like that. He's like, yeah, but no, she's not the same Anna anymore. It's like, yeah, to you,
You don't know that.
You don't know her.
Yeah.
Honestly,
You don't
like,
even know who Anna was.
Like, we don't know.
You don't even know your own personality, man. It's
Yeah.
like, who are you?
Exactly.
You don't know. You might wake up tomorrow and be a vindictive little brat. You don't know.
I kind of thought that
Probably.
he was like very like overly attached to Anna at times, where I was like, is this just like a typical man who's just like, oh my god, a woman, my best friend? Like, I don't know. I was just like too attached to this woman for no reason.
Just like a little puppy.
I don't know. I mean, like, men love intrigue, right? Like, TV, back me up, right? Like, men love intrigue. And it's like, oh my god, a woman. And she doesn't want me, and everyone says that she's bad for me. I must have her, right? TV, come on.
Isn't that what, men say about women as well?
That exactly. Like, I figure, not every man.
Maybe humans just like intrigue,
Many men.
regardless of
Many
gender.
men in fiction tend to just be like, oh my god, a woman. Great. Like, we've read books. I wasn't sure if that was the case here with Aiden. I was glad that he wasn't just like entirely simping for Anna the entire book, thankfully.
Yeah,
but
that was
it did
surprising.
that
Actually,
half of the book, to be honest.
Like, would it depend on his host? It's like, what decision would he make if he were Ravencourt at the time?
Yeah,
Like, completely different.
See, I think he paired up or clung to Anna only because she was like the first one who was like, I'm your friend. We're in trouble. Like, stick with me through this. So it was like the first person who like kind of broke the simulation through to him. So I don't know if it was entirely like, female. I think because even for a while there, he was more simping over Evelyn to me in my mind.
at the beginning, yeah.
Than Anna. Like, he was basically like forgetting in the first couple days that this was like, there was a puzzle to be solved and that Evelyn kept dying. Instead, like every day he woke up for like 3 days. He was like, where is she? I love her. Oh, I'm in a new body. Oh, I have to make love. And I'm like, oh, like this guy. She's going to die every day. Instead of like courting her, like her kissing you is not going to save her. So I feel like he was simping over Evelyn. Anna, like he kept trying to find Anna because she was like the only tie that he had. And she was very mysterious the entire time, which is why I know that Anna might have not remembered who she was or what she did. But that's why I feel like her personality at least rang through as like kind of this vindictive, like she kept saying she was going to help him, but like where she was never there in the important moments, like she said she was going to be. And I feel like she was still trying to thwart him at every turn. So I feel like at the end, even though he was like, yeah, I forgive you, like we both don't know why we're even here because like our memory has just been like erased basically. But I feel like if you look back on your days, like she did nothing to help you in your quest. She just made all these empty promises. So I don't know if I would have like taken
Trusted her.
with
Yeah.
But I definitely don't think I would have ever solved this mystery. Like, again, I at least like that it was a little realistic, that which might have made it confusing that it was a little too realistic in the beginning, that he like wasn't actively trying to solve the mystery for the first couple of days. I personally would have been like, who am I? What's going on? There's a party? Awesome. And then like everything. So I do think that maybe to clear up confusion, like the author could have just, the main character should have just ran at it like 100%, gave it his all from day one, instead of kind of this back and forth. Because I think that did make it confusing. Because as a reader, you forgot what was going on. You're like, what is the end goal in the first couple days? So I could see how that becomes a little convoluted too.
I feel like the moment that I knew Aiden was like serious about what was going on was when I think he was Ravencourt. I don't know. It always comes back to Ravencourt. But like whoever body he was in, he was talking to his like page or something. And he was like, you need to do this for me. And the page was like, why? And he's like, because tomorrow I'm going to write down a note and I'm going to put it under that cushion and you're going to read it and it's going to be like your whole backstory. I'm going to blackmail you with knowledge I don't even have yet. And he was like, he read the letter and he was like, how did you know this? And I was like, it worked. Like, what? Oh my God.
Yeah,
So-
that was in the same feeling as when he just beats up the how's the word? The old guy that we later know that it's actually him also, and he's just like injured in this cottage. I don't remember the name in English, but whatever. But that was one of the times when I was just like, oh damn, it's another one of his kind of buddies, and it's just like, yeah, but he's there too, and there, and this is confusing. Yeah, there were many moments like that.
Actually, yeah, that is another twist that was pretty interesting where it was like, I'm you, but you're just not me yet. And it was like, okay,
Yeah.
but are you? Like,
And I'm gonna beat you up, but you will understand later. Don't worry.
yeah, we're just like, I need to.
It will all make sense.
You'll understand in 2 days. You're just like, you won't. You definitely won't. No. All time. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say like what I would do in Aiden's shoes. I feel like it's just difficult, but I do kind of feel like what Mick was saying, like I might try to hit the ground running more quickly, but I also found that it was really cool that the order of the hosts, which was basically determined by the plague doctor, was kind of on purpose, so that from day one he had a connection to Evelyn, and then he was willing to actually like solve her murder, because I guess that means in past iterations maybe he was somebody else first and he was like, I don't really care. And then only by like day 4, he was like Sebastian Bell. And then he was like, oh, maybe I should care, which is way too late to start investigating stuff. So kind of really interesting that like the plague doctor seemed to be like playing around with all that stuff. What did you guys think of the plague doctor as a character?
Oh, I love his character. He was just like always there in the shadows, being just like, I'm watching you, Aiden. What are you doing? Just like watching. That was his task. Watch. Yes.
Yeah.
Are you sure about that? That's it. But yeah, I did really like him.
I think I liked him better whenever he didn't take the mask off yet. Because I think like when he took the mask off, he just kind of lost all of like the cool mystery about him. Because like I liked him more when like there was like this like mysterious figure. He might not be human. I just really liked that. Then it was like, oh, I'm just a dude. And I was like, oh, that's kind of like lame, actually. I was hoping you're like some like cool like robot or something. It's like, no, you're just like some dude, I guess. I mean, okay, but.
Yeah,
I agree. I liked him better with the outfit. It's just, it made him kind of spooky. Kind of, you didn't know like, how is he always there? Does he have magical powers, or does he teleport, or is he just like always hovering right behind you and you can't see him? And then, yeah, it's just a guy. And you're like, oh, hi.
And then there was like a second plague doctor also. I forgot what they called that person.
Is it the footman they were talking about? Like the guy who's trying to...
Oh, no, the footman was like another player that
the other one
killed.
Yeah.
Which was also wild. Where it's just
I
like
that.
I mean, I like that too. I wish that the footman was really played up, but I feel like it could have been even more played up. Because if this was like a prison simulation and you have people of varying different like crimes who are in here, like the footman is definitely one of those, like he's like an assassin in his real life.
Yeah.
So like the only part of his personality that's like left is like, I'm gonna get out of here by like killing everybody. And that's what just kept happening. He was just ready to like take all the players out one by one. So I thought that was an interesting point. But I like the plague doctor, maybe more so because I watched the show The Good Place. And
I love the plague.
and, like,
So good.
the whole like simulation and having the plague doctor just reminded me kind of that show where you have like the demon who's like creating this fake heaven. And that's kind of who I saw the plague doctor is. Like he was assigned this section of the prison or whatever simulation to make it hard and to kind of make their life miserable. So I liked that there was kind of like the puppet master behind the scene, and you could tell that he was playing around with Aiden's like characters and what was happening, because you could tell that he kind of wanted Aiden to get out, but he couldn't help him fully. So he had to come up with ways to kind of help him escape, but still torture everybody else. So I thought it was a cool character to have. I feel like if we didn't have it, it would be so wrong, like so lost. Like we had to have a character in there.
Yeah, we needed like a figure of authority, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think it would have been really interesting if there was like a twist. I mean, I don't think it would work narratively, but I just think it would have been interesting, like a Black Mirror horror kind of way, if it was like Aiden was actually like a criminal, and there was like, even if you gave the name of the murderer, then you just had to do it all over again, like kind of like White Bear. I think that would have been like an interesting thing, but I also feel like there would have been no reason for the like anything to happen at that point, because then you would just completely lose hope, and that's why they would have to wipe your memory. But it is like a pretty interesting like torture device altogether of like doing this. I wonder, like, I mean, we kind of talked about like if it's ethical, if it's just or anything, but like it makes me wonder about the world that's out there that made this simulation, and that so many people were like, yeah, this is fine, that they actually instate it and they do it in prisons, and it's not really like that unusual. But it does like cause that kind of discussion for like the footmen and Anna and Aiden to like completely lose themselves in this game that like they don't really know who they are anymore, which means the footman probably deep down is just that kind of person that's just like, I'll just kill my way out of this. Like I don't need to think about it. I'll just kill until I'm the only person left, and then I know who did it. Them, like, you know, they're just like, that's
Easy way out. I mean, it worked. It should have worked.
which is interesting because that means that like I assume like the footman was always in the game and he never really got out of it. But I'm kind of asking because I don't remember. I don't know.
Wasn't it like he and Anna were just never supposed to get out? Aiden was supposed to get out because he wasn't supposed to be there in the first place.
Right.
But the other two were like monsters.
Yeah, because I think like they had a big disadvantage of only being in like one body for one day.
Mhm.
So it kind of seems like they would basically just have to guess. Like, I think it's that person. I think it's that person. And then like if by chance they got it right, do you think they would actually get out? Because it almost seems like that's kind of like not a great prison system. If you could guess and get out
really
like,
think
day one.
I think in general, like they would have never gotten out anyways because the stack, like it was purposely stacked against them. Like with the footman, again, like one personality trait of his that continued was like he didn't want to play the game. He didn't want to solve a mystery. He just kept running around trying to kill all the players, thinking that that would get him out. So that's already stacked against him because he's not going to play along. He's just going to do whatever he wants. And then with Anna, like, I mean, Aiden was kind of her worst enemy because he kept thwarting her. She kind of got involved in trying to thwart him. So she also, too, she wasn't really trying to solve the mystery. She was just trying to make sure Aiden didn't win before her. So I feel like the two actual criminals like would have never gotten out because they weren't focused on like the mystery to begin with. They were just focused on taking out everybody else. Whereas Aiden was actually focused on trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
Fair point. Fair point.
Mhm.
Okay, do we have anything that was like, I hated this part of the book? Because we have like had almost no salt. We've just been so respectful. I'm ready for some fight. Please fight on my channel. It's fine.
I don't like fighting.
But we're here to fight. Let's go.
I don't know. There wasn't really anything that I hated other than my boredom, really, and the time wasted.
Well, all
I'm
right.
sorry.
I'm sorry to get it more.
I think like one of my things is that a lot of the like POVs, but they were going on for too long. Like we're focusing on like the weirdest parts, like focusing on. But like there are parts that could have been like cut out without like nothing really being lost. Because like, one of my main issues is that it feels like it drags on. I do think that like the beginning like slog, it does pay off in the end, because I think that the more interesting POVs are like the second and third person, because like the second one gets like knocked out immediately. So we have flashbacks to that back and forth. And that's like very cool. Then the like third person tries to escape, so they're gone for like most of the book. It's like how they kind of like come back towards the end. So I do think that the beginning parts need to like stay the same. Just like towards the end, where like things start to like fall into place, where like becomes like less interesting almost, because like we've been here for so long, we still know nothing, and it's just like, it feels like we're kind of like spinning our wheels, doing nothing really, besides figuring out like, hey, you'll figure out something soon, hopefully. It's like, okay, but like I've been here for like 300 pages, I still know nothing really. Besides that, there are people here besides me, and people are being killed, and that's about it. Great.
Yeah.
What else is there?
But
No.
I also think that reflects how the main character felt, because he was just like, I know nothing, literally, I know nothing, and then you as a reader feel the same way because nothing makes sense in the middle of the book. You're just like jumping back and forth, and just like, sure, I'm here, I'll accept it, okay, whatever. And then by the end you're just like, oh, it actually made sense. But I also think that it's a book that needs to click with you. It's a really polarizing book. If you don't like just going back and forth, you won't enjoy it. I mean, it's just it takes brain power to just be stuck with
Okay,
this
so we're
book.
going for brain power here.
Ooh. The
I mean,
salts.
while you're reading it, you just need to be like focused. For example,
Yeah.
I usually listen to audiobooks while I'm playing video games. I couldn't do this with this one at all.
No.
I mean, I would be so lost.
I've heard
Like,
you.
if you don't pay attention for a second, you're just like, wait, who the fuck is Ravenkirk? What the hell is going on?
Yeah,
So that's why
I
I'm
agree.
need to focus. Like, yeah, what is going on? What is this? I need to take notes. Just like that kind of a book.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think that's like any reader's fault or anything like that, but I just feel like certain
No.
books are just hard to read if I'm not fully engaged, like staring at the page and going like at my own pace. Because usually, like with audiobooks, which is my main form of consuming books, I listen while I'm at work. Like, so I'm doing my work. That's not like I'm in a meeting or anything like that, but like I'm doing stuff and then I'm listening. So if I'm not like just staring at nothing and just listening to the book, I feel like it's so hard to actually like understand anything that's going on unless you actually are taking notes, like you're saying, Lena. So, like, no shade to Ava, no shade. But I kind of agree. Like, I feel like if you aren't like fully like in this book, it's so confusing. And like as we're talking about this, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I kind of wish there were pictures. Like, I'm so confused. Like, what's going on? Like,
It would be a
I don't
good
know.
movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I
I
mean,
don't
you
think
could just get like a timeline. Like, here's your reward for reading this book. Now you can understand it.
I don't think it would work as like a TV show because I think like nothing would happen in like half of the episodes where you'd be like, okay, so who's that? All right, I don't know. But like maybe as like a very quick, like, I don't know, like 1 hour movie, if they were able to like just cut a lot of these POVs and just be like, this happened, then this happened, then this happened, and somehow like visually make it work, I could probably understand like the days, the characters, everything better. But I wonder if it just like maybe it just suffers because the kind of medium that it is, it's really hard to like understand everything that's going on. Which, you know, it's a like valid criticism of the book. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, mostly. Oh, sorry. You go.
I liked like the book overall, and again, I think the reason why I liked it so much was because I was reading like thrillers that were so predictable. So this was just something so new, and I definitely can like criticize it, like taking a step back and agree with all the salt. Like it is pretty convoluted, and like I wish you would have pared down on a couple things and have focused on just a couple kind of avenues. But I think overall, I just had so much fun reading it, which is why I am like still in the 4.5 stars range, because I've never read something like it before. I do think it would be really good as a movie, way better as a movie. It almost felt like the movie Inception. Like he was trying to go for something that was so mind bending and so like out there that sometimes I've read a lot of books who try to do that, and it really is a hit or miss. And I feel like that kind of I don't know, that kind of like style and that like big risk really only works with movies, because some things really need to be shown instead of like written down. So yeah, I agree. I feel like I'm actually surprised no one's like picked it up or even tried to bite at it to make it some sort of movie, especially with how big like Black Mirror is and all that.
Yeah, I think this book came out like 2018, so it's like around the time of Black Mirror like hype built up. So I wonder like if maybe one day they'll pick it up, turn it into something. I also want to ask about. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just going to Josh's comment, the people who like the surprising reveals, but if there's anything beyond a mystery that you liked. Again, I feel like it was just a fun read. I actually liked the characters. It seems like you didn't, and like the Salties didn't, but I did like that the way that they jumped from character to character, like each character had a strength. And I feel like they were pretty fleshed out for what they needed to be. Like, I think it actually, if you fleshed it out too much, again, it would have been too much information. Like, still, like, there's so much information in this book. So I don't think that we needed like deep character backstories. You just needed to know like what was the character's strength and then what was the weakness for like the main character to use. So I really liked that, and I just thought it was a fun read. But besides the mystery part, like, yeah, I mean, not much else.
I was also going to say, I think they revealed something like around the time that the plague doctor is like, by the way, you're in prison, that like this happens across different simulations and stuff, but they just pick like really hard to solve cases. But was this something that really happened and they just never solved it, and they were like, let's make inmates try to solve it? I think that's what they said.
I think so.
I think so.
I think he said so. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that no one have ever like solved the murder. That's why Anna was there and the footman was there, because they were just like high-profile criminals.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they thrown them in there. So yeah, I think so.
That's so interesting that like they would be like, no one could ever solve this.
Let's throw them in there.
Right.
Make them die 1,000 deaths.
I will say that something else that I did actually like off this book is the atmosphere, because like you're in this like spooky house that's falling apart. I'm at the middle of the woods. There's like a lake where someone got killed. People are like missing. You have no idea where they are. People are getting like knocked out. There are like doors being broken into. Overall, for like spooky like place for like a mystery to take place. And then there's like how everyone here we kind of figure out is like not the best person actually. Like even like people that aren't criminals. Like no one here is like a great person really. So that's like the spooky vibes going on. I'm just like as a whole, like the whole like I said before, the fact this is like a house, it's kind of like falling apart. It's the middle of the woods. They're so creepy, like a good place for like a mystery to happen at, And then talking about the other like cases they talked about, I think when they mentioned the like simulation going on like a boat, they're like 3 people had like solved who was being killed on the boat. I was like more interested in that mystery, because I was like, it's a boat. Like
that's the next book by the author.
I think that's the next. I don't know if the next book is a simulation, but I know there's like, what is it?
Give me a sec.
Nina's like, I will.
Oh,
Like,
And it's so beautiful. Also, look at this.
it's gorgeous.
But yeah, I think that this one is inspired by that. It's not the same in like any way, shape, or form as Evelyn Hardcastle. I do actually think that both of you who didn't like Evelyn Hardcastle will like that one better, and the other way around. The people that like Evelyn the most. Yeah, I did like it. I gave it 4 stars, but it's not Evelyn. Evelyn is so complex. It has so many things, and this one, it has a great resolution. Again, like in this one, it's just like a great plot like reveal, but it felt so much simpler. I was just like, I was just like waiting for something like extreme science fiction or something like that. It was just like, it's a mystery. Yeah.
it's a mystery.
Yeah, it's just like, it's a mystery. But the atmosphere is great. The boat atmosphere has something like you cannot go anywhere. It's just so cool. Like in the same with the house in the middle of the forest. Yeah, it has something that so cool.
Yeah, like you're very trapped in that space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was also going to ask, because this was like a whole big part of the Evelyn Hardcastle mystery of like who we thought Evelyn Hardcastle was, and then Michael Hardcastle, and Michael like killing his sister to save her from Ravencourt. That did not jive with me, where I was like, I don't think that's good. Like she already committed suicide in front of everybody, which if that worked, why are you murdering her? Save her.
Yeah.
Why? Why is that a good idea? And he was like, obviously, you're welcome, sister. And it was like, she's like choking out on the table. Like, I don't really think she's gonna thank you, my bro. Like, no.
No, we're not. Yeah, I feel like that was just done for like dramatics sake. Which again, as I was reading it, I was like, wow, damn, that's dramatic. So I mean, I bit it.
Don't worry.
I was like, whoa, didn't see that coming again. So yeah, definitely just another kind of punch to throw in there just because.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it also like allows both Aiden and Anna to have an answer for the Plague Doctor, which I guess was like kind of the whole point of all that stuff. But yeah, interesting. I wonder, like, because I'm very into like scavenger hunts and escape rooms and like puzzle solving and stuff like that. So I think that's like why this really appealed to me. But yeah, like I mean, like I really have to wonder like how I would fare, because I'd probably just be like, what? Like every time something happened, like, you know, you always think like you're so smart, and then you read something and you're like, no, I'm not. Like, maybe it's just me, but like I'm just like, I'm obviously
it's not just you, don't worry.
No.
Every time I read a mystery, I'm like, there is 0% chance I will guess the culprit. There's literally no chance. No, that's wild.
I do wish there were more mysteries like this. Like, I would like to see if there are more, I don't know, maybe I haven't like dove in from any like more recent books that kind of have the same feel and like the same kind of complex plot. But I would like to kind of read something more like this and see if someone can do it better, like use the conventions of the mystery genre and maybe make it a little less convoluted, a little less confusing, and like elevate it. So I'll do my research on what came out recently.
Would you guys be willing to? Sorry. Go ahead.
I didn't mind the confusion, really. I kind of liked it at the beginning, being confused. It was fun. And then it just kept going without any new information at all. You're like, yeah, I know this. Stop telling me that thing and tell me why. Or give me something else that I can build on. Don't just bring me back to that lake thing and never mention why. And the ghost in the lake as well. Where did that come from? There was a ghost in the lake. I was like,
I think that was like someone who died like 30 years ago.
Yeah, I know whose ghost it was. Why was the ghost there?
Yeah.
Like, we hadn't seen any ghost activity up until that point. And then all of a sudden there's
like
ghost.
spookier vibes, obviously.
So it's
like,
a sci-fi ghost story.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't have minded the spookiness had we had like hauntings happening. That would have been kind of cool as well. But it just came out of nowhere. Just a ghost. And then we do not talk about it again. It's gone now, forever. Just in the lake. It bothers me. I was like waiting for it to come back. I'm like, where's the ghost? Here, ghost. And no ghost, no dice. So there's a little bit of salt.
I mean, yeah, maybe just one of those things was like, here you go, something for everyone, but it just didn't like wrap up well.
Yeah.
I mean, we said like, you know, Devil in the Dark Water, but would you guys be interested in reading this book if it was written by somebody else, or do you just like hate the concept? You're like, no.
I like the concept. I do like the concept, and like I said throughout the whole like live show, I do like parts of it. Just that I don't think that the execution was the best, like for me anyway. Because like I said before, it just feels like it like drags on for too long to like really, like, okay, if you read a lot of like mysteries from like, you know, they get through by like Agatha Christie, her novels are all like really short. They're like around 300 pages or like less. Like that's why they work as well as they do. Like, and if you only give them like 3 stars, they're at least like good mysteries. For, like,
oh yeah, they're still good. Like,
yeah, because like they're very short, so there's not a lot of like fluff to like waste your time with. You're always like going like, so we're going here to do this, to figure out what we do next. Whereas with this one, it's just we spend so much time just like sitting and waiting around for like someone to come say, hey, there's some weird stuff going on over there. It's like, okay, but like when are we gonna like learn something cool? Because like we're like in this house and there are people here being killed, and that's about it we got. Like what else is there now?
Yeah. I can see what you mean.
I also have to say that it's a debut novel, which is
true.
That's pretty impressive.
Hell? Yeah, so yeah, I completely understand like the criticism for this, because it could have been shorter. Like, yeah, for sure. This second one I think is actually a little bit shorter, but not too much. Yeah, not that much shorter, but it actually helped the book. So yeah, it could have been like 50 pages less at least. So yeah, I agree with that. But also debut novel like this, I don't have the mind to create something like this. Like, no.
Same.
Yeah,
but I'm definitely willing to give the other book a chance. So I mean, I did like a lot of stuff about the book. It just let me down big time. That's the reason for the salt, is that I did love it in the beginning, and it had been so hyped for so long by so many people that I know, and then it just started dragging on, and yeah, that's why I'm salty. It's not that it's a shitty book. I mean, even though some people feel that way, I don't think it's a shitty book, but I'm definitely willing to give the author another chance because, again, it's a debut novel and that's kind of amazing. But yeah, I'm definitely going to read the next one, I think. And we can have another one of these.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
With the roles reversed.
Yeah.
I
Right. Nick, I need you to
so-
hate the next book, and then we can come back. Yeah.
we were all so respectful in this.
I know. I wanted
Yeah.
you guys to do some votes, but everybody was too nice. I don't know. You guys are like actual friends. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm definitely interested in like the second book now. I was like honestly on the fence about if I wanted to pick it up before finishing Evelyn Hardcastle. And it's weird because Evelyn Hardcastle has always been a book that I was like, oh my God, I have to read this. I have to read it. And after I finished it, I was like, yeah, I read it. Like, I don't know. I gave it 4 stars, but I wasn't like, amazing, I gotta tell everyone about it. I was like, yeah, I read it. Anyway, I also read this and I read that. Like, I don't know. It just like, it's not that it faded. It was very unique, but I guess it wasn't like a lasting impact kind of story for me. Josh says, I love the concept, but I won't be reading his next one because he's not my type of cup of tea. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I was interested to see that, like, at the end of the book, he had like some author's notes where he said it took him like I think 4 years or something to write this book. Which for some of you, you may be like, why wasn't it better? But I mean, like, to be honest, I feel like you need a minimum of 4 years to come up with a concept like this because, like, this is very complicated.
That's a lot.
I'm okay with what happened. I think I will be like picking up the second book, and I also think if this was like a movie, I would definitely buy a ticket, go see it.
Yeah.
It'd be cool.
I do really think that you will like the second book better. It felt a lot like, you know, this kind of Sherlock Holmes cases where everything seems impossible. And then by the end, you're just like, oh, that's possible, actually. It's like the same thing. You're just like, there's no way this is happening. And then it also, everything has an explanation. It's not like in Seven Deaths where you just end the book and you have still so many answers about everything. This one felt like an adventure. It's like, yay, good time.
Okay, all right.
That sounds good.
That sounds interesting to me. Yeah. Also, I forgot to ask this like way earlier in the live show, but what do you guys think the half death was for those of you who have like, I guess like the Americanized copy? Because it's called Seven Deaths.
I know what it is. Because it was published at the same time as the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo.
Is that the only reason that they changed the name?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in the American version, they put like a half.
What?
And that's it. I do have to say that sometimes I do say the Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hugo. That's another thing.
If that's the only reason, if there's not like a literal,
Yeah.
I understand the
Yep.
confusion because a lot of people on Twitter, like I've always seen people confused on the timeline over like, is it Evelyn or the other lady? Like, are we alive? Are we dead? Like, I don't know what 7-1 we're talking about. But that's the only reason it almost wants to make me knock down a star because dang.
In fact, the first like editions, like mine, don't come with the half. Then the next editions came with the half because Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Damn it, I almost missed it again. But yeah, it's such a stupid reason, but in a way it makes sense because it's a really similar title. Yes, it's like Seven something, Evelyn something. So yeah.
I guess I mean, that was always confusing to me before I read either. I haven't read the husband one yet, but I saw them coming around like BookTube around the same time, and I was just like, are these the same thing? Because everyone's like, oh, it's so good, but somebody gets murdered a lot, and I was like, is this the same book? I don't know. I thought the half was deeper, where it was just like, oh, like the real Evelyn only got like fake suicide on this round.
That's what
It's stupid like that.
Oh, that's so
I'm mad. Who published this? I need to go.
I'm so happy that I got like the first edition without that shit on the cover because it pisses me off when I see the half and I'm just like, why?
I don't know why for like when they were doing like the final like stuff before they were like going to printing, why they didn't just change the name, because like it's just a name. There's no reason for her name to be like EH specifically. Like I would have just changed it because the fact that it's like Evelyn H for both books, that's gonna be confusing as hell for most people. Like
Yeah.
going to lie. Like what if it's just change the name to like, like I don't know, like Annie Smith. Not really obviously, but like something like that. Like they just change it.
Okay, but nobody wants to read the 7.5 Deaths of Annie Smith. It's just like, okay, but Evelyn Hardcastle, okay.
Okay, but still like
it needs to be a good name. Like, not that Annie Smith isn't a good name, but like for a
Sorry
mystery.
to all the Annie Smiths out there.
I was just changing with something else because like it's just the name. There's no like reason for her name to be Hardcastle. Like they're not in a hard castle. Like I get the name sounds like fancy and like old money kind of, which I do like about it. So like you could come up with like a different name and like get the same idea across.
Yeah. I feel like they could have just changed your first name and then just like Control F and then just changed all of them.
The whole thing.
But wow. Because like around the time I was thinking about reading this, I also read a book that's called The 7 or 8 Deaths of Stella Fortuna.
I saw that one.
Not related at all. I really love the book, but it has like nothing to do with any of this stuff at all. But I was like, is this the same thing as the other thing? But no. And then I read it. I was like,
publishing
so
does
weird.
on purpose. They have like what? It's like when all the movies, or like what are the movies? No Strings Attached, and the other like Friends with Benefits.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're the same.
Why do movies and books? I feel like it comes in waves. I'm like, I don't want to read 4 of the same book.
I wonder if those 3 artists were like in a bar one night and they were like, all right, we need our next book, the same thing, almost. And then someone might accidentally pick up your book when they're coming from my book, and they might pick up my book when they're coming from your book.
It's going to be so funny.
Big brain.
Big
Big brain.
Oh my god. I don't know if I'm disappointed or like, I don't know, but
Wow. Okay, I'm leaving Salty. More with publishing. Yeah.
you converted a simp to a salt.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, I had to say, I'm a bit salty. I don't know.
I love that there was a title that threw you over the edge. It was like,
last straw.
Man. Salty forever. Amazing. Well, does anyone have any other like final comments before we wrap it up for today?
I was expecting more salt from you, TB. With 1 star, you said so many good things. What?
Yeah.
You see, I think it was a lot of like, just like disappointment, really, because like it had such like a good premise, a good idea, that kind of just like didn't meet my expectations at all. And like I said before, it just dragged on. I feel like when books drag on, I usually rate them lower because like I don't have all the time in the world to just waste my time reading something that I don't like. And for this one, like for mysteries, you basically have to finish them because like the big twist can really change how you feel about like a thriller, like a mystery, because it kind of like just changes how everything works in the story, So you have to finish these. So I went all the way through the ending, and I was still like, I mean, it was a good twist, but it wasn't enough to like justify me not liking the whole thing for this long.
yeah.
Fair enough. Josh also asked what the next book is. So I actually have an idea. And I don't know like who's going to be coming back, but I do have like a couple other people who are interested. But I think next episode of Simps versus Salties is going to be on the Starless Sea, because I did not like that book. And I know a lot of people love that book.
You're making me read that book just to be salty. Okay, I'll do it.
So I don't know if any of y'all have like finished that book, or if you love it or you hate it or whatever, or if you're like, I'm staying away from it because I don't even want it. Like, just
I think I gave it 2 stars. Wait, let me check. 1 or 2. I think 2.
All right. Well, I will tell you.
Wait, I did give it 4 stars, but I meant to change it to 2.
Wait, what? This is totally different. Wait, what happened?
I don't know. I don't know why I gave it 4 stars to begin with. I was very disappointed in it. I loved it. I loved it for 90% of it. If the book had just stopped at the 90% mark, I would have been fine. It would have been a 4 star.
Really?
I think that's why I gave it 4 stars, because I was afraid that my saltiness at the last 10% was, clouding my judgment. So I still like sitting on it for, 9 months now. It's a 2 star. I'm changing it right now.
Oh my god. Okay, we're gonna have to have you come back and
I
like.
haven't read it yet. I haven't read The Night Circus though either, and I feel like I need to read that one first. So I don't really know much about her writing, but I have seen like very polarized opinions on Twitter about this book.
I have read The Night Circus and I didn't like it.
Not like it?
So,
Oh no.
it was not for me at all. It was just so whimsical, and it's just like, yeah, love for everyone by the end. What?
This is not depressing enough for me. 2 stars.
No. I think I gave it like 3. It was like, yeah, I understand why so many people like it, but I'm just like, this is so underrated. Like overrated. So I was just like, now I do own Starless Sea, and you, Rachel, told me don't read it.
Yep. Yeah, I do believe I commented on like at least one of your videos where you were like, I have the Starless Scene. I was like, don't you dare. Don't do it. Wait,
Now I have to. Now I'm curious. I should be just like one of the Salties next time.
Sounds like it's going to be a lot of Salties and no Simps.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to find at least like one simp. At least we'll find some people. But, it's not officially planned for like next month or anything. I know like next month everyone likes to read like very, holiday themed books. Maybe, I don't know, but sometime soon we'll have part 2 or like episode 2, Simps versus Salties. But in the meantime, I think that basically wraps it up for today. So do you guys want to like go back around, like plug anything if you have anything coming up? Anything?
There's the usual thing.
Just more salt, more sipping. Okay. Yeah. But I think that's basically it from us. So thank you again for joining us for episode 1. Hopefully we will come back with more salt and more simping for a different book next time. But thank you guys so much for joining me for like, this very impromptu kind of like discussion thing. But it was a lot of fun. Thank you a lot for joining.
Yeah.
Thank you to those of you who stuck around and are watching. Thank you a lot. I'm going to end the broadcast for now. So thank you very much for joining us. Bye.